the new name now. Yeah. Okay. We are very honored today to have our two speakers joining us in our FRGS proposal writing workshop. I think people are still coming in, trickling into our session. So while we wait for others to join us, let us begin with Kitab Al-Fatiha. Alhamdulillah, I'm very thankful today that we finally managed to organize this training session. This has been in the pipeline for some time already. I have been in discussion with our Deputy Dean, Dr. Haslina, regarding our research activities, research training for all our academics in the Kuliah. So this is one of the training that we have listed for this year. So inshallah, today we are very honored to have two speakers, highly experienced speakers, who will help us, inshallah, yeah, to prepare for the upcoming FRGS opening. I have been informed this morning by RMC that the next call for FRGS application will be sometime in January 2022. So I think this workshop is very timely indeed, yeah, inshallah. If we get, all the tips and tricks from both our speakers here, we will be better prepared, yeah, to write a good proposal, a winning proposal. So before we begin our session, let me welcome our Deputy Dean, Associate Professor Dr. Haslina Ibrahim, to give us some, sepatah dua kata opening remarks for everyone here today. Tafadhal, Dr. Haslina.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi taala wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Ainul, Associate Professor Dr. Badri Najib, Associate Professor Dr. Rohaiza, my friends. I can see some of my friends are here, and also new staff. I've yet to go to the list, and we have also Taiko here, senior professor also here, kan? Dr. Diana is also here. Congratulations for your promotions. Dr. Nazaria is also here. These are Taikos lah. Dr. Maisara is also here. MashaAllah. So actually, we are so delighted and happy to receive the feedbacks from our members, and inshallah, though Dr. Ainul said this is training, this is not so much training, perhaps what you have in your mind now, yeah? What we plan to do today is to, I hope all of you have already rough ideas about your proposal, sketch ideas about your proposal, and hopefully we can have kind of interactive session with the speakers. Associate Professor Dr. Badri has just, successfully secured FRGS research, and Dr. Rohaiza, I have a few research with Dr. Rohaiza, and one of the research was FRGS or ERGS. Inshallah, you can benefit from both of them. And I think what is important for this program is that we hope that while doing the kind of hands-on session, you will be able to, develop the proposal, and by the time when FRGS is open, you can submit the proposal. It is also essential that FRGS is unlike other research. Yeah, FRGS not only it is dealing with fundamental issues, fundamental problems, but you, as much as possible, you need to be conversant with the relevant agencies that you may need to get involved with when doing the research. In that regard also, I think if say for example, you need to relate with particular agencies, you need to know if they are, say for example, new policy papers, blueprints, strategic plannings of that particular agencies. Yes, so you are able to know what are needed by that particular agencies. And you need also to know the secret of winning FRGS proposal is that to get a team from other universities. Yes, so I know that most of us like to have our friends, our colleagues from the same department, from the same kuliah, but that's not how it is. FRGS, yeah. The best is if you can have from other universities, kind of interdisciplinary, intradisciplinary kind of engagement, and you get involved one of the stakeholders or agencies or industries in the research. The likelihood would be, for you getting the proposal would be high. Yeah. So I hope today we have about 31, yeah, Dr. 31 participants. So hopefully we can have 31 proposals. For your information, this is how other universities are doing it. In fact, they have invested lots of energy and also money to get the funding from FRGS. What I heard, USIM from time to time, they will have like 2 days, 1 night, 3 days, 2 night retreat just to work on the FRGS proposal. Yeah, and they got it. So when they had very extensive session to work on the FRGS proposal alone, they got it. So inshallah, this time around we have 31. We hope all 31 will be getting it, inshallah, with the guidance from Dr. Badri and Dr. Raiza, inshallah. Or otherwise, okay, don't be frustrated if you do not get it from the FRGS. We will use the same proposal to pitch or to try with other agencies relevant. So at the moment, myself and Dr. Ainul, last semester, we have reached out to a number of agencies to introduce our staff, introduce what we have, and find where the meeting points between our expertise and the needs of that particular agencies. So this time around, my plan is that I know if we have those proposals who do not make it for the FRGS, we will try to reach out to the relevant agencies, yeah, and try to discuss how we are going to do with the, how to get the funding for that particular proposal. And if you remember, recently we have invited Professor Emeritus Dr. Ismail Zain. Yeah, he is going also to mentor us on how to develop the budgeting, especially when we work with the government agencies. Because I think many of us, especially from IRK, we do not know how to initiate or how to propose the budget, especially in terms of professional honorarium for researchers. Kindly be informed that actually we have the right to propose honorarium for the researchers, especially when you are doing a proposal for industries. For FRGS, I don't think we can. Yeah, I don't think we can do it. Yeah, that's the setback of FRGS. But that's why I say you don't have to worry if you couldn't get it for the FRGS. We will try to find potential funders. Yeah? Just I think what we are need now is the proposals. I know, because we can help to reach out to the potential agencies, but we do not have the proposal. Like last time we went to Yapim, we went to mana lagi? We have yet to go to Yadim, kan, Dr. Aino? We didn't go to Yadim. I think we went to Jais, kan? But then we went with tangan kosong lah, actually. We went with tangan kosong. Now, if we have, say, for example, 31 proposals, we hope that all the 31 proposals will get it, inshallah, with proper guidance. Yeah. But if not, then we will still, use the same proposal, maybe modify it a little bit for other for getting the funding from other stakeholders. Yeah, inshallah, this is I think we have to strategize lah. We can no longer allow our academics, to write proposals and then submit to FRGS, but then when it was rejected or when it did not make it, that's it. We know how much time we need, how much what we call that struggle when we prepare a proposal for FRGS and ERGS. At least I have had that experience before. Yeah. So inshallah, I hope we can do this together. Yeah. And this is not like I know better, somebody else do not know at all. This is sharing, and hopefully this also can help to activate or to boost more interdepartmental kind of collaborations between IRK and NHS. Yeah. Most of the time kan, I observe that when IRK does research, do not invite people from HS and vice versa. Yeah, people from HS tak invite pun people from IRK. Tapi the kuliahs are inviting our asatiza from IRK to get the spiritual or the religious input. Yeah? Tapi we in the same kuliah, we didn't invite our members. The most that we invite when we do field work, we just want our asatiza to become feeder je. But not to be actively together involved in the research. I beg from our friends in human sciences, please invite your colleagues at IRK, because they have also inputs and they need also to get some exposures and experience doing fieldwork research. At least that's how I get the skill when I first attempted social research, and I work with Dr. Rohaiza, Associate Professor Dr. Rohaiza, Associate Professor Dr. Mardiana, and then I learned some basic SPSS when joining my colleagues from human sciences, and that's how you broaden up your horizon of research, you expand your networking, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So inshallah, I wish you all the best. As much as I want to learn from Associate Professor Dr. Badri and Associate Professor Dr. Rohaiza, yeah, but I have to attend another meeting with CPS. Yeah, I wish you all the best, and thank you, Dr. Ainul, for helping to realize this. I've been wanting to do this since last, when I first joined the office, but it did not materialize. Alhamdulillah, you have materialized it, and we have good support from our friends. Yeah. All the best, all of you. Thank you very much, Associate Professor Dr. Badri and Associate Professor Dr. Wahaiza. Thank you to all. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Has. Thank you very much, Dr. Has, for the opening remark. A lot of encouragement from our Deputy Dean Research and Innovation. Before we begin our sessions, I would just like to share with you just a short itinerary for our session today. So we just had the opening remark. After this, we will invite Associate Professor Dr. Badri to share with us his experience. So we will start at about, now it's 2:45. So he will deliver his talk until about 3:30, and then we will pass the session to Associate Professor Dr. Rohaiza. She will also have about 45 minutes to be with us, and then inshallah we will all disperse into our respective breakout rooms because I think we can have our own discussions. Our IRK friends, our IRK colleagues can be with Dr. Badri, and also Dr. Rohaiza will be with our human science lecturers. So after each session, I will announce where we'll be heading, to which session. Okay, without further ado, I would like to invite Associate Professor Dr. Badri Najib, who recently secured his FRGS grant, a total of 75,000 actually, and the title of his research is Developing a Model for Teaching Arabic Grammar to the Malay learners with alignment to the Malay language structure and pattern. So we hope Dr. Badri will share his wisdom with us today. Inshallah, more IRKHS lecturers will secure our FR research grants as well after this. Over to you, Dr. Badri.
Thank you very much, Dr. Ainul. I would like to ask for clarification with regard to the time. Will there be a question and answer session during the 45 minutes?
No, not really. We will do that in the breakout rooms.
Okay, so that 45 minutes is for the presentation only.
Correct.
All right.
I will be gathering, whatever feedback or comments from the chat column.
Mm-hmm. Okay, once again, thank you very much, Dr. Ainul and colleagues. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Okay, first of all, my talk is about what to do or the sharing regarding what are the things that can increase perhaps the likelihood of securing an FRGS grant. So the first thing that I would like to share with you all, I think is quite, I would like to summarize into just a few points, but those points will need a lot of elaboration actually. So let's try to do this, and hopefully we are going to be able to understand and try to increase the likelihood of getting the grant, inshallah. So here you can see that there are 6 points. And hopefully when I summarize it like this, when you are writing your proposal, you will always ask this question. Do you have all these 6 in your proposal or not? Number one, is it really fundamental? Okay, we will come to that. Number two, will the research involve field data, which is the primary source, primary data? So when we are talking about KIRKHS or in humanities, maybe there are some proposals that people will develop without having any field data at all. So if you have that, then you can be sure that it's not going to be rejected. You like it or not is a different story. But the moment there is no field data, there won't be any grant from under FRGS. Number 3, robust methodology. So robust methodology, now at that level, for the ministry, they are looking for a methodology that is not on the basic level. So they need some sophistication for consideration. So with regard to the IRK branch or the IRK division, for example, basically we have our textual research or library research. Our section on methodology will not be that long. We don't explain that much under methodology. So basically we will say that, for example, especially those who are writing in Arabic, they will just say that, okay, this is istiqra'i tahlili. And istiqra'i means deductive, gathering the material. Basically it's corpus, trying to gather material that form the basis of what you want to study. So you form the corpus, and then you find out what people say regarding the items that you have collected. and then you analyze. So this one will not work for FRGS. It won't work for FRGS. So there must be some level of sophistication in terms of methodology. And that's why what Dr. Haslina mentioned becomes relevant in the sense that if we can have collaboration, because when we have collaboration with people from other fields, like let's say education or sociology or psychology, they have, you know, like quantitative data, or even the qualitative way of the understanding of what is qualitative in social science, for example, in the fields of communication, the fields of psychology, the fields of education, is different from what many IRK division lecturers think or perceive as qualitative. So the fact of the matter is that when we don't know, we have to search out, we have to reach out to other people so that they can inform us, you know, these are the things that you need to do. Maybe they can give us some options and say that, okay, this is method A, method B, method C. What works for you in your mind? And then they can give feedback. Number 4 is logical from start to end. So if you impress in the first page, the first 2 pages, and then towards the end, they find that there are things that are not in sync with each other, then this will be picked up. And that can lead to rejection also. So we have to be, to ensure that things are in sync from the beginning to the end. Even to the extent of considering how much time needed. Because sometimes in this case, for example, in my case, for example, I would tend to give it a longer period because I'm worried about the fact that I'm busy. But the question about that is also raised. For this matter, why does it take so long? So you see the logical, it has to be logical from start to end, even for the the duration that we put for the milestones or the activities to be done to complete the research. And comply with conditions. So comply with conditions, we have to know. So if we want to comply, we have to know what are the conditions. I have shared in the email the FRGS guideline. So this is from the ministry. So it means that it has to be read line by line. That guideline has to be read line by line so that we know whether our proposal is complying with conditions or not. So when I say line by line, the matters that are, because that is the guideline is inclusive of the guideline for the assessors as well. So we don't have to worry about what the assessors have to do. We have to read line by line the clauses that are, or the paragraphs that are relevant to us as applicants. But the good thing is that when they put everything there, even for criteria for assessment, then we can look at the criteria for assessment and we can try to judge on our own whether we are meeting those criteria or not. And if we have those who are willing to help, it will be even better because we can ask somebody else to read and say whether, do you think my proposal, meet all these assessment criteria or not? So we'll come to that, of course. And then clear write-up. This cannot be overemphasized. To say is easy, but to do is difficult. because what might be, what you think might be clear to you might not be clear to the reader. So this is what I experienced personally, because you know, being from a language department, when you write, you feel that you might have conveyed the meaning in the most clear terms or expressions, but when it goes to the assessor still asks, you know, what is meant by this? Or worse still, what they wrote is that not clear. I will share this one. I'm what do you call? I'm not shy, so I will not shy away from showing the comments. I will show all the comments in the session. So they just wrote not clear. So you can you know, say whatever you want about the assessor, and say you should have written I mean, you yourself should have made it clearer by specifying what is it that is not clear. But there is no room for that, because we do not know who assess. In our university, even in our university, it's a blind process. So my proposal might be assessed by Allah, maybe Prof. Nur Farida, or maybe Prof. Rahma, and then they just write not clear. So I cannot, I do not know who wrote not clear. So I cannot go to, let's say, Prof. Farida, what do you mean by not clear here? So you have to figure out. But the moment they say not clear, it means that instead of you saying, complaining that you should have been clearer by specifying what is not clear, instead of doing that, it is better for us to say, to just accept. It means that the reader, this is not clear to the reader. So what is the way to make it clearer? So you have to use your own ijtihad and your own judgment, whether that will work or not. We say tawakkalna ala Allah. I mean, we leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because in the end, we cannot get the feedback from the person who gave that assessment. And by the way, one important thing also is to give enough time. If you are serious about trying to get FRGS, you need to be you need to allocate time for this well before the opening, because when it is open, normally it is open for about maybe 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks, and you think that I can do this within 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Actually, no. You cannot do that in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, because like our students, PhD students, they are, I mean, they have got their masters, for example. When they want to do their PhD proposal, can they do it within 3 weeks? Mustahil. It's not going to happen, because you have to read, you have to gather, gather what you call information about the field, what is the gap, and how to write properly about the gap, the research problem. So it cannot be done within 3 weeks. In fact, I feel it is not even possible within 1 month. So it means that now, if Prof. Dr. Haslina has mentioned that the next opening will be January next year, so it means that it has to start now. It has to start now. It means that if possible, everybody who is interested will allocate, you know, in a week, maybe one hour every week to work on this, to read, because writing is one thing, but to read what is in the field so that you can produce the proper proposal, that is going to take time. That is what is going to take time, because in the end, you are going, in the literature review, for example, you are going to piece them together in a convincing manner. And if you do not read properly, is, things will be picked up very easily from there, from the literature review, for example. So I have shared, I mentioned to you that I have shared the FRGS guidelines. So now I'm going to the key paragraphs in those guidelines. So the first thing is that we have to understand what is fundamental. What do they mean by fundamental? Because this one is not my first submission. I have submitted before, at least, if I can remember, at least 2 times, and both times they were rejected. The first one, the reason for rejection was very easy, not fundamental. The proposal is not about fundamental research. So you can shout all you like. Can you specify what is why is it's not fundamental? I mean, there is no mean to get clarification. The judgment is that it's not fundamental. That's it. It's gone. So we need to then try to figure out to make sure that our proposal will be fundamental in the eyes of the ministry assessors. This is number 1. Number 2, the title itself must give indication that there is an element of fundamental there. All right. So as you can see here, what they have defined is that fundamental research is basic research that can produce new Malaysian molded theories. Malaysian molded. Okay, maybe there is a spelling error there, but Malaysian molded theories. So now we have international staff. If they produce fundamental basic research, but not Malaysian molded, you know already it's going to be out. It's going to be rejected. So you have no choice, but there is a need to make sure that the theories that you will argue will emerge from your research will be Malaysian molded. Okay. All concepts or ideas for the development of knowledge. So they want Malaysia based, but that something that will develop the knowledge globally. Because the development of knowledge is meant for the scholarship in general. So they want Malaysian molded theories and concept, but for the development of knowledge. So for addition to the body of knowledge. So addition to the body of knowledge, we have to understand it is addition to the body of knowledge globally. So Malaysian based, but can have significant globally or internationally. Right. Is my interpretation right? I think my interpretation of this is right because this is augmented by the statement of purpose here. The purpose says this research aims to accelerate the generation of new Malaysian molded theories. So it is very clear, Malaysian. Okay, that are the catalysts for new discoveries that break the boundaries of knowledge and innovative creation. So it means that break the boundaries of knowledge. We are not talking about boundaries of knowledge in Malaysia. Boundaries of knowledge, it means that globally. So now it means a basic research which aims to produce, based on that research, hopefully there will be theories. These theories must be based on Malaysian flavor. So Malaysian flavor basically maybe Malaysian data. but something that will be significant also for the larger world. It means that you have to piece together all these items in order to produce what comes under the definition of fundamental in the mind of the ministry assessors. Okay, so that is fundamental. Okay, and as you can see in the ministry, what I'm telling you, in the ministry, when they say that anything, if you want to produce any theory, especially for the lecturers in IRK division, so if you want to produce, if you want your research to be able to lead to what? Some theories. To them, it doesn't make sense if you want to develop the theories based on secondary sources, based on the writings of, secondary data, based on the writings of whoever that have written before. Because it says Malaysian. So it must be based on Malaysian data. The data should be collected from, let's say, within Malaysia. If you want to combine Malaysia and Singapore, Malaysia and Brunei, whatever, no problem. But if you do it totally outside Malaysia, definitely is going to be rejected. So for their understanding, anything, if you want to develop a theory, it must be based on field data, meaning that primary data. Of course, in those in the social sciences, when we say data, this is easily understood. It is mean from the field, but I have to emphasize this point for IRK division lecturers. So the data in the minds of the assessors is different from the data that many IRK lecturers perceive in their mind. All right. Now, when it comes to methodology, this one I have to let's look at the guideline for some key points. Okay. Sorry, before the research method, I'm still on the title and also the topic. You see here, research priority areas. Now we say that it has to be fundamental in the sense that it's basic research. It has to be Malaysian. It will lead to Malaysian molded theories. Number 3, it must have global significance. And then you have number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. What are those? So you have your research topic. They must be able to see it is strongly relevant to these areas that I have mentioned, 2.21, 2.22, 2.23, 2.24, and all these things. So now, for example, of course, this one, 2.21 is quite easy. So for IRK, for social sciences, you have the option there, very easy. So social sciences, no issue. But now for IRK, do you have Islamic studies here? The answer is no. There is no Islamic studies. So now, what are you going to work on? Which part? Of course, pure and applied sciences is not for IRK. Technology and engineering, not for IRK. So maybe Allahu Alam, maybe cultural heritage. Cultural heritage, maybe. But most likely, you have to go for D. And this is another reason why the data must be field data. Okay. Research clusters. Okay, this one, In my case, I put it education and knowledgeable civil society. So this is not so difficult, but still, your explanation, they should be able to see a clear connection with the area you choose. So if you, let's say, if you tick wrongly in the form, because you need to fill in the form. So maybe I can show the form. Many of you would have known the form anyway, but it's okay for me to also share this. I need to do what? One moment. Okay, I bring it here so that I can see. Otherwise, I can't see. So you can see here my grant. Let me go in. So now when you have new application, let's say FRG draft, you proceed. So here, they will, now here under research info, you have to select. So if you select wrongly, that's it. Let's say you do something on IRK, and then you wrongly select this one because of you wrongly click. You know that it is for education and knowledgeable civil society, but you mistakenly click basic infrastructure. That's it. It's gone. All right, coming back to these other areas. This one, you might not have heard this. I didn't hear, I definitely wasn't aware of this before. You know, the 10-10 framework of my MYS MyST. So you have to select this one also. So in the application form, you cannot make mistake on this. So this one, maybe most of us will take education. And then this one, shared prosperity vision. What is that? Allahu Alam, you find out. So we have to find out so that we can do the selection correctly. And this is also a challenge, because if you look here, there is no Islamic studies per se. You have Islamic finance, so maybe fiqh can do this, but other fields like Usuluddin or Quran Sunnah, what is it that you are going to do? In my case, I selected content industry. Content industry, because I feel that that is the, what they call the closest to what I wanted to do. Okay. And then sustainable development goals. You still have to select this one also, but this one is quite easy. You can select quality education, for example, if it is about, improving education or improving teaching or whatever. And then this one, this is a requirement. Your research output, they have specified clearly what they want. So if you have a 3-year project, you have to put in the form at least 1 PhD student or 2 master student in full-time research mode. They don't want in mixed mode. Our kuliah, we are very stingy about giving people research mode. But what they want is actually for a 3-year project, either one PhD in full-time research mode or master student in full-time research. So in this regard, I think the kuliah need to play a role so that we can allow students to be engaged in our project to take the full research mode, not the mixed mode. So, and then they have also the publication requirement. So because of the constraint of time, I'm not going to be able to go through one by one, but I will give you the link also of the materials. So the publication. So they have also set out what is required in terms of publication. So it means that in the form you have to state according to what they want. So this come under what? Under comply with conditions. Comply with conditions. This one also very important. Researchers are responsible for updating personal files in Migrant. So maybe you didn't really update your info in Migrant. So if your info is little, then the assessors, they have little information about your capability. Maybe they will say that no, the researcher, I don't think experienced enough. I don't think is good enough to handle this. Whereas you have loads of other things not in the migrant profile. You did not update, so they cannot look and see what you are capable, what you have done before. So that will give them confidence. So it means that you have to update your profile in migrant so that it will increase the confidence for them to grant the project to you. And 3.1. This one we can say that, okay, application assessment at university level. Assessment is carried out at the university level and the result of assessment are forwarded to JPT. You might say that, oh, this is nothing to do with me. What I have to do is to apply. So this is somebody, the responsibility of another person. The answer is no. Actually, we need long comments to increase the possibility of acceptance. We need long comments. This is the irony. We need long comments from our internal assessors so that there is higher likelihood to get the grant. Why is that? Seems that doesn't make sense, right? It means that if there are a lot of comments, not so good. It is as though your proposal is not so good. If your proposal is very, very beautiful, then the comment is less. The answer no, because the assessors in the ministry, their thinking is like this. If the comment is very little, then it means that the proposal has not been rigorously assessed internally. Rigor. You know, at one point, the whole submission, there was blanket rejection from the ministry. And their reasoning to us, the reason they gave to us is very simple. There is no proof of rigorous evaluation by the university. That's it. Everybody. At one point, there was one cycle, nobody got it because that was the remark by the ministry. So it means that long comments is actually helpful. So when you have you see long comments for your proposal, you say Alhamdulillah. Don't say that. Oh my goodness, how can they write something like this? You say Alhamdulillah, because it means that at least the ministry people will say, okay, this has undergone rigorous assessment. And then they have given also the criteria. So you can ask one by one whether your proposal you have the tick for this, the tick for this, the tick for this, the tick for this. Okay, of course, I don't have time to go one by one about this one, but you get the idea. Okay. Financial regulation. I want to emphasize this is to be read line by line. Why? Because I can tell you from personal experience also. The last cycle, I actually submitted 2. Of course, this is they cannot. The requirement is you can only submit 1. So I have my proposal. The principal assessor, the principal investigator, I gave it to another person. I asked another person. I mean, as a collaboration, I asked the other person to submit the other one, because the idea is that if one is rejected, one is accepted, the other one, that person will switch me as principal. But if both are accepted, then okay lah. The other person will continue as the principal. I become the researcher. But basically, the idea and all this thing from me. Even for the second one. You know what? For that what do you call the proposal, we wanted to say that now if you have so-called Islamic novel, the Islamic novel will create Islamic awareness or not? So it's a simple question, but nobody has tried this. You have Islamic Islamic novels and short stories. People say that this is a means of da'wah. When you say means of da'wah, we want to know whether it creates effect or not in terms of Islamic awareness or whatever in the readers. So we say reader response. And this will hopefully get, part of the reader response theory. Now, what happened is that there is not much comments on the methodology or the clarity or things like that. But the big reason for rejection is that because we included in the vote, in the in the budget, we wanted to buy 120 novels. Why do we want to buy 120 novels? Because otherwise we have to fork out from our own pocket. We want the students, we want participants of our research, the respondents, to read. If they don't read, how can they say, oh, I benefited from this? You see the logic there? They cannot say that I benefited from this novel in terms of Islamic awareness if they have not read it. Now, if I want them to read, is it fair for me to say to them, okay, you buy? It's not fair. This is for my research. Now, if I want to buy, I have to fork out from my own money. So we put in the budget. Rejected because of that. Because they say the provision here, you cannot buy reference material. They use this one, 5.2.1.2. They use this to reject. They say, okay, novel is reference material. So this one, use of provision, this is prohibited. That's it. Okay, so now I have 5 minutes more. I have prepared actually this one in Word. This one, I have converted the application into Word. So now it means that if you want, instead of you writing in straight in the system in Migrant, because in Migrant sometimes you have frustration also, because when you write and then suddenly it stops, it freezes. So it's better for you to write outside first. So if you want to write outside, I have tried to help here by converting the form into Word. So here is, you can write. And then, and this is exactly 100% like the items in the grant, in my grant. So you can write whatever what you need to write, and then when you want to put it in my grant, you just copy and paste in my grant. Copy and paste, copy and paste. Right? Now, last one. I want to share the what do you call the topic on my proposal. So let me go to the this one. See here, I have put the assessor's comments here. You see, duration. What is the comment? Please state the development of the model is processes, testing, validating clearly the research activity to justify the lengthy 2 years period. So for them, I mean, for this assessor, maybe he said, you know, this one is 1 year is enough. Why 2 years? So it has to, we have no choice but to try to make it clear why do we, there is a need in terms of the duration. Okay, the statement of the problem is not mentioned. You can say this is like, you know, something very, very fundamental, very key. Your opinion is that, well, I have written the statement of problem. How can you not see this? But the point is that when he said the statement is not mentioned, don't try to argue. Just say, I mean, because you cannot argue anyway, because you don't know who to argue with. Just think again and say, it means that, just take it like this. It means that whatever that I state as a problem is not clear enough for him. So I have to figure out how to make it clear. Of course, it can be hit and miss, but it means that you have, the moment they say this, it means that you have to amend. Even research question, for example, because this is going to be about field data, I even asked some of my, some of our colleagues who are, you know, seasoned researchers and in research that involve field data, I asked them, okay, is this a proper question, research question to write or not? And then he, this person that I consulted, he said, it has to be like this, cannot be in the way you wrote. Why is that? Because the difference in, you know, the area, you know, my training is in humanities, but now I'm writing something like more like social science research. So we cannot be, I mean, from IRK, we say, okay, we know our stuff. No, it's not about that, because if you want to get the research, then you need the, what they call the feedback, and then you need to know how they are thinking. So that's why I ask, okay, this research proposal is, this research questions, for example, is it appropriate or not? And then he said, no, this one in social science cannot go. But then when I asked my friend, so it's easy. But for the assessor, it means that I have no means of contacting the assessor. So, for example, there are some items that they mentioned, as I mentioned to you, not clear. See here, not clear from the summary. FRGS criteria not clear from the summary. So I had to redo the thing that I mentioned about the, you know, Malaysia molded theories to expand boundaries of knowledge and things like that. You say, in spite of a good title. So it means that the title for the assessor is already good. But you say, oh, you know, like, you know, something that is flashy and something, but inside they feel that something is not that good yet. So I have had to adjust. So in the end, this is my proposal. I will also share this through the link. This is the final that got the approval. even though after that I have had to adjust the budget, but this one is before the one that got approved. So not to worry, I have no time more. This one is shared. We can have this discussion in the breakout room, inshallah. So to conclude, this is the I'll give you the what do you call the link to that one. The link to the folder, so you can have access to all that I have put in the folder. Maybe I can put it in chat here. All right. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Dr. Badri. I think I personally have, learned a lot from your 45-minute talk just now. If I can just, summarize what you have shared with us, Dr. Badri mentioned that even the tiniest detail must be taken care of. Yeah, from the title of the proposal that we are writing to the system in the migrant, all right, learning and understanding what the conditions are outlined by the ministry, yeah, and also at the end of his talk, he shared with us, feeling not very shy, Dr. Badri, sharing the comments from the assessors. Yeah, I think these are the things that we must learn, yeah, from the comments that they have written. Yeah, I think it's very true. We don't have anyone to argue with. Yeah, it's just us trying to improve from whatever proposals that we have prepared. It's a game where we have to follow whatever rules that they have. Yeah, the thing about FRGS. Alhamdulillah, I think what Dr. Badri has shared with us is very, very valuable today. He's also shared with us some links. You are sharing with us those links in the chat column, yeah, Dr. Badri?
Yeah.
Okay. So inshallah, Dr. Badri will join us again in the breakout room afterwards, maybe at about 4:15. So let us continue with Associate Professor Dr. Rohaiza Rukis. She is a member of our Sociology and Anthropology Department. For your information, Dr. Rohaiza has been or is a grant holder for FRGS, the bottom 40 household in Kuala Lumpur, a special reference on social entrepreneurship among women in different ethnic groups. She's a researcher for FRGS. She's also done research from Frgs. Yeah, she's also received RMGS grant. So this is a very highly experienced researcher that we have today with us. So we would love to hear from you, Dr. Rohaiza, yeah, your tips and also your advice from your research experience. Tafadhal, over to you.
Thank you, Dr. Aino. Okay, that's too much for me to accept actually. Okay, it's nothing. Assalamualaikum. Okay, thank you, Dr. Badri. Thank you to Dr. Has, okay, for giving me the opportunity, okay, to talk about research, okay, from the FRGS. Okay, for my case, it was actually quite a long time ago actually. Okay, I had received this FRGS in 2017, and since then there are lots of changes that took place in terms of the guidelines, I think, okay, because I was also surprised when I was given, I had a briefing on internal assessor, okay, in which there are lots of different things that have been mentioned in that briefing that I didn't do it during my own application for my FRGS. Okay, so this is basically something new. Okay, and I'm not sure whether my being here is appropriate or not, because there are some changes that taken place. But after all, okay, we talk about the flow of the knowledge, okay, we're going to share with each others. And after all, doing research is always about almost the same in terms of its principle. Okay, we need to get the data, we need to be empirical, we need to have some sort of like ethical consideration, and that's okay. So I'm going to share a little bit of my knowledge, okay, my experiences in getting this FRGS 2017. And to also need to mention here that my project, okay, was actually almost half of what Dr. Badri's received. Okay, so just little. Okay, so there was like before this, the kuliah had some kind of strategy, if I'm not mistaken, where we were requested or asked to have a lower grants, okay, so that it should not be more than 50,000 at that time. So that there's a big possibility for, given a chances to other people, okay, to get it. And it's true enough. I don't know, maybe RMC had some kind of idea, okay, from the MOHI, okay, the Ministry of Higher Education, that is a kind of strategy that can be done in 2017. Maybe because quite a number of us receive it. Okay, I remember even Prof. Shukran also received it, okay, during the cycle. Dr. Elmira, okay, a lot from RK, okay, Professor Luqman. So we received quite a number of representation from our kuliah during that time. Okay, so talking about that story, this project that I have received is like my second effort, actually, my second trial. The first trial, it was not even having this systematic system yet, FRGS system yet. Okay, it was not in place yet. Okay, we just a normal kind procedures where we apply FRGS through RMC, and then RMC forward it, okay, to MOHI. Okay, but the second time, when I did it, okay, I got the proper briefing, okay, from Prof. Ratna. Hopefully you also joined Prof. Ratna's briefing or workshop early in the morning today. This was very interesting and was very helpful and useful, okay, because we know that Prof. Ratna had lots of experiences, okay, in the project. Okay, she even had TRGS, not just FRGS. So we after listening to her briefing, okay, I know that something need to be done. What I have done for my first project was totally wrong. Okay, it's like shock sendiri basically. So for after the briefing, after the workshop, okay, I know, okay, there's something need to be changed. Okay, first of all, we need to understand, okay, what is fundamental. Okay, what is fundamental here? Okay. So this, I think Dr. Badri mentioned quite, it's nice, okay, that Dr. Badri gave us the guidelines just now, okay, because I'm not going to touch on the guidelines. So it's like we are synced very nice, okay, in terms of our presentation. So Dr. Badri started with, all the necessary inputs, okay, for to prepare ourselves in writing, okay, but mine will be more on what happened, okay, what can be written, okay, on the paper itself, on the form itself, okay, later on. But first, okay, we need to understand the criteria of fundamental research. So this is a basic research, okay, it sounds a foundation, okay, towards some other bigger things, okay, so it provides us a basic for everything. Okay, so there's a difference between basic research and applied research, in which I will maybe provide a little bit more information later on. Okay, but for time being, basic research fundamental research comes from theoretical and experimental research that primarily to acquire new knowledge. Okay, to understand new theories or to provide new theories, perhaps. Okay, so this is for us, okay, for the perspective of the policymakers, perhaps, to provide an increased scientific knowledge, okay, understanding about human behaviors, for example, to see how to understand, how to solve perhaps social problems that's happening. Okay, and normally fundamental research can come out of our curiosity. Okay, we are interested in developing, Arabic programs. Okay, for example, these are programs, or we are interested in having a kind of pembangunan module. Okay, or model insan. Okay, something is a very comes to your own interest. Okay. And FRGS, okay, fundamental research, does not really directed towards having an immediate or planned application. Okay, it just provides us a basis for the next project. Okay, it does not give us, it doesn't want to see any applications of things there. Okay, it doesn't want to see any measurements of, testing, for example. Okay, it may go to much later or further applied research in nature, for example, prototype, KPRGS, or transdisciplinary, KTRGS. So that having FRGS, if we are we have FRGS grant with us, so it gives us some sort of license for us to go further, for PRGS, if our fundamental research is actually towards that, towards having a plan for some sort of any application. Okay, so and at the same time, fundamental research does not really about commercial products. Okay, that's not about to have some commercial product. It's more on theoretical aspect. Okay, it's more on the perhaps philosophical aspects. Okay, another aspect, okay, when we do research that I would like to share is especially when we deals with human samples, okay, because in social research we always have this kind of using human sample, okay, in as our to get the feedback, okay, to give our empirical data. Okay, so now there is a new how to say information that we receive that we need to comply to this IRAC. Okay, so what is IRAC? Can I use this? Okay, can you see so IRAC is actually a IIUM Research Ethics Committee. Okay, IIUM Research Ethics Committee. So I know this issue because recent recipients of FRGS, they were asked, okay, whether they have complied to IRAC. Okay, they have complied to IRAC conditions, and this is very important when we do research. Okay, we because we involve with human subjects. Okay, we involve with human subject. Okay, so ethics consideration need to be there, okay, in whatever research that we do, especially when we talk about having human subject as our respondents or our samples or our interviewees. Okay, so this is need to be clear as well. So perhaps, okay, we need to understand how IRACs can work. Okay, what happened if research done is without ethical approval? Okay, so no reputable peer-reviewed journal will accept research conducted on human subjects, okay, to participation without this approval. Okay, so this is very clear. So there's a tendency today in the academia that, or in the publication perspective, that we need to get these ethics, okay, ethical considerations need to be put into our discussions. Okay, so that is some of the points, okay, that I would like to share with you with regards to criteria of fundamental research. Okay, so I talked before just now, okay, the differences I mentioned about applied and how our fundamental research content should be different, okay, from applied or more advanced research project. Okay, so actually to talk about this, I'm quite nervous because we have like Otai here, even Prof. Sauda is with us, okay, and so many other experienced researchers with us. So Okay, hopefully Professor Oda can also give opinions and any, any justification, okay, for whatever we mentioned here. Okay, so yeah, again, okay, there are some differences. What is basic or fundamental as applied? Okay, because during my short terms as assessors as well, internal assessors, I found that fundamental research have been, and the idea of having fundamental research have been mixed up with applied. Okay, so I think that is maybe one of the main reasons why, if even though internal assessor give away, okay, for the project for RMC, approve it for RMC, but perhaps at higher level, they will, I mean, at the MOHI level, they will think that, okay, this is something not basic, not fundamental, but actually applied. Okay, so we need to understand the differences between these contents. Okay, so for the basic, okay, it's more on expanding, okay, the current knowledge. So it's like we want to see the extensions of the knowledge. Okay, and we know that knowledge is not a vacuum. Is always moving, it's always changing. Even a small aspects, okay, about our human life, okay, or our understanding about situations is changing, okay, from various perspectives, from various disciplines. So that's why they want to make sure that the basic research or the fundamental research has this content, okay, on expanding current knowledge. Okay, and it also have some, must have some theory, okay, that we have been guided by a particular or theoretical perspective, okay, that can be explored, okay, for a better understanding. Okay, because some of the theories are still very rigid, okay, still very new, okay, and need for further exploration. Okay, and then it's meant for wider scope. Okay, so for basic research, it is for the use of many people. Okay, wider scope, and normally it is less associated with technology. Okay, less associated with technology. Okay, and what is best about fundamental research? It should be able to predict, okay, what's coming after that. Okay, for predicting future phenomena, okay, from your own research. Okay, and as mentioned before, it is based on our interest, our curiosity, what we want to solve, perhaps what we want to discover, want to explore, okay, about the certain problems that is happening, okay, in our society. Okay, I'm looking from the sociological perspective, okay, from the anthropological perspective. Okay, and then it does not direct for any commercial, okay, commercial objectives. Okay, so if we put something on patenting, or or something which is very much clearly for commercialization, okay, it may have problem to be approved and to be accepted. Okay, and then it also is not so much connected with economy, in the sense that it does not really talks about the financial income generations and whatsoever. Okay, it's more on the social aspects, okay, about your life. And then this is one of the maybe the problematic part, okay, for us doing doing articles using FRGS, because normally the value, okay, that the ISI or Scopus looking at, okay, as the outcomes of FRGS may be a little bit lower than PRGS or any other advanced grants. Okay, so we are less appear, okay, in the academic publications. Okay, and then finally it takes place in a sterile environment, so meaning that the environment could be not so much how to say, I mean, it's so open, okay, it's not really controlled, okay, as can be used if you are using any measurement or testing on social behavior. Okay, so this is among other, okay, of the differences, of what is applied and what is basic or fundamental research. Okay, so maybe this point need to be, we need to consider, okay, before we started, okay, to have, our writing up for our FRGS form. Okay. So basically, in conclusion, to say that fundamental research is experimental or theoretical work that is primarily to acquire new knowledge, okay, to acquire new knowledge, and also for our scientific, to enhance, to increase our scientific knowledge base, okay, for research, okay, for further research perhaps, okay. And in itself, okay, FRGS has no immediate or planned applications. But later, as we develop more understanding, we have good outcomes, for example, it may later be used for further research, okay, for more applied in nature. Okay, so it can go to PRGS, okay, or further up to TRGS. Okay, so that is the situations, the understanding about doing fundamental research. Okay, as I said, we are syncing very nicely, Dr. Badri. Okay, you are given us the form. Okay, you are given us the later on that you're going to use your own form. Okay, but I'm giving mine actually. Okay, this is what I have that I have submitted and approved, okay, during my 2017 FRGS application last time. Okay, the topic, okay, tak boleh nampak pula ni. The topic is the bottom 40 or B40 household in Kuala Lumpur, a special reference on social entrepreneurship of what? Because I could not see. Okay, B40 household in Kuala Lumpur, a special reference on social entrepreneurships of different. Can you read that, Dino? Okay, because it was.
You want me to read the title?
The title, please. The one I have framed.
Okay. The B40 households in Kuala Lumpur, a special reference on social entrepreneurship among women of different ethnic groups.
Okay, among ethnic groups. Okay, among women of ethnic groups. So this is comes, okay, into my deriving from my curiosity, okay, because at that time during we had just had the 11th Malaysian plan. They were talking about urban poverty, okay, and B40 it always come to our discussions, okay. So taking that the terms, okay, the B40, okay, so I also have my own interest on women as well as to profile, okay, the ethnic differences, okay, in having social entrepreneurship. So I had this this topic, and it seems to be working well, okay, where they were interested in it and approved for it. So the point here is that, okay, when we want to the title is very important, okay. When we want to write the research project based on fundamental research, okay, the title need to portray, okay, that it is fundamental, okay. For example, we must use certain terms that attract them, that actually fit well, okay, with the nature of fundamental. Okay, for example, this one is more on profiling. Okay, another like Dr. Badri mentioned, had developing. Okay, so it means that he wants to develop, okay, new things, okay, new idea, okay, about his interest. Okay, and another terms could have like the terms like framework. Okay, a framework, you want to develop a framework, okay, modeling, or perhaps in Malay ada pembentukan model, okay, or pembentukan module. Okay, so all these things could be a term that actually pinpoint, okay, the needs, okay, of the fundamental research nature. Okay. So so just to show to you that the system is not that friendly, basically. I do not know whether Dr. Badri agree or not, but it is not that friendly in terms of putting all the information. Okay, as he mentioned, we have frustration sometimes. It's hang. Okay, especially when we want to put this in writing, put everything at the end of the deadline. So it's like really hectic. Okay, so and then we have the deadline to fulfill. So this is really so my advice is that we need to be, we need to put everything way before the deadline, so that you can always change without any pressure, okay, or feel of tense while doing so. Okay. The next is on the importance of who's who in our project. Okay, the importance of our team work. Okay, the teamwork. Okay, so I know this is one of the biggest items, one of the most influential items in the research project of the national level. Okay, they want to see the interdisciplinary, they want to see of the different expertise come into one project. Okay, so for that, I'm making sure that I'm involving my colleague, not just from our own kuliah, not just from our own university, but also from other university. Okay, I'm specifically choosing the so-called higher ranking universities, okay, in my listing as well. Okay, and it so happened that this my colleagues is actually have specialization, okay, in his or her area. Okay, so I put okay, UKM, okay, we have also from of course from IIUM, and not forgetting, okay, the private institution as well. Okay, the private institutions. Why it is needed? Okay, maybe strategically, I was thinking that since my topic is on ethnic profiling, okay, I definitely must have the representation, okay, from different ethnic researchers as well. Okay, so I have Dr. Uma, okay, from SEGI. I have Dr. Yu Hui Woon, okay, from UKM, okay, to be working with me on the project. Okay, so there's no I'm not quite sure about the guidelines, but I don't think there's a limit, okay, for putting the names, okay, as long as they can write together with you or contribute, okay, with your project. Okay, but I think maybe ideally 4, 3 is also okay. Okay, it's also okay depending on how you're going to strategically write, okay, your project, okay, your FRGS form. Okay. And then I'll go to the executive summary. Okay, so because this is all done, okay, I know this is already approved, okay, even though the budget is not so much, okay, but I just need to mention to you that writing the executive summary tells everything. Okay, I remember that Prof. Ratna mentioned that, okay, many assessors, okay, at the national level, okay, MOHI level, they will just look at the executive summary together with the title, okay, and then if they think that this is not fundamental, they just put aside. Okay, so writing the executive summary is everything. Okay, is everything. So in my humble opinions here, okay, if possible, try to relate with what's going on, especially in relation to policy. Okay, we are just, the government has just launched the 12th Malaysian plan, for example. So make you read first, okay, whether your curious interest, okay, your aspect that you want to study can be linked with the 12th Malaysian plan, okay, which is recently launched. So with that, you give some sort of like, oh, this is very relevant, Okay, this is very current. Okay, in which these researchers wants to pursue in or to study in. Okay, so that is tell us something. And also, in the executive summary, as normally, okay, we need to mention the backgrounds, okay, a little bit of background, a little bit of definition, okay. So when I say profiling the 3 ethnic groups in Malaysia, where can I get these samples? So I have mentioned in the executive summary, okay, that these Malay, Chinese, and Indian women will be investigated, okay, from the PPR, okay, locations. So the Brixville comprising the majority of the Indians, example, okay, Cheras, PPR in Cheras is for the Chinese. So for that, we are giving some sort of like a clear empirical evidence that this place that we are actually studying is represented by these specific ethnic groups. Okay, of course, you have to do some sampling. You have to go to DBKL to get their sampling frame, okay, in order for us to have a very concrete, okay, a concrete sample representation, okay. And talking about DBKL, okay, the gatekeeper, okay, of our information, that's another whole story actually. But in writing, okay, you have to think about our gatekeepers. Okay, who we are going to approach to get our information, to get our empirical information. Okay, for this project, it used a survey. Okay, so it was planned, okay, to have a simple random sampling, okay, SRS, where it is very important for us to have a sampling frame. Okay, and this frame must come from authority. Okay. So and then I defined as well what is B40. Okay, at that time, okay, the B40 is ringgit Malaysia. Those who receive a monthly household income of 3,855. But in the latest 12 Malaysian plan, okay, it is increased to 4,000, more than 4,000 to comprise of B40 groups. Okay. And then in the executive summary itself, okay, we have objectives. Okay, what is the main objective? We may have several, okay, objectives, but the main objective is must be mentioned there. Okay, and then I put how to get the sampling. Okay, utilize some samplings as well, and then have the research outcomes. Okay. Now, this one is more on the progress summary, okay, where we need to provide in our milestone, okay, what are the anticipated, okay, milestones that we want to achieve. Okay, so here the system, okay, the form is quite it's automated. Okay, when you put something like this, it will straight away provide us this kind of charts. Okay, so it's very important for us to have a clear plan, okay, when we do all these milestones, okay, because it will reflect in the next sections on the research activities. Okay, so it clearly for the for the evaluator, perhaps they will clearly see, okay, for 2 years project, what is to be achieved, what are the stages involved. Okay, so whenever we report our updates, okay, later, okay, they will see, oh, after 1 year, is it at this stage, is it what stage? So they will see the progress. Okay, and then this is the budgeting. Okay, I'm not shy as well to tell about the budget. Okay, because it's, as mentioned, it's very low. Okay, and therefore I need to be very prudent, okay, in spending my budget. Okay, I think I asked for the 40 over 40, 45 perhaps. Okay, I just received 35 or something like that. Okay, so that is once we actually propose, but if we get, okay, they may ask us to reduce, and that we have to reduce in a very, very systematic, in a very, very intelligent way, or else we may have problems to handle our project. Okay, so the votes here, okay, is also very important. For social sciences, there are some votes that is not applicable for us. Okay, but for vote 11,000 salary and wages, is almost everyone need to fill it up. Okay, because the outcomes of FRGS is always about having human capital. Okay, human capital in forms of how many researchers, how many master's research or PhD, depending on the project, that we can produce. Okay, it is advisable, okay, for FRGS, okay, because it's just 2 years. Okay, we use master students rather than PhD, because we know that PhD will take a minimum of 3 years, right? So strategically, we use master students, okay, so that they can really, because in the end, the outcomes that we need to also report, okay, that these students have graduated using this using the outcomes, okay, of the project. Okay, so that is very important for us to be strategic, okay, on this vote 11 as well. Okay, and then for vote 21,000 on traveling and transportations, and of course, okay, I was lucky in the sense that when I'm going to go for to attend the international conference, I managed, okay, to do it, unlike more recent recipients of FRGS, when they had to, due to pandemic, they have to, there's a really problems, because the allocation for international conference is a lot, okay, so it can be quite difficult, okay, for them to maneuver around what had been given, but this system is very intelligent, okay, because they always allocate, okay, they already allocate, okay, how much that we can spend for international conference. Okay, it should not be a certain amount. Okay, so just not, at most time, if you go to European countries, for example, for attending a conference attendance, we don't have enough. Okay, so for this one, I plan to go to European countries. Okay, and I did. Okay, but not actually sufficient. Okay, we need to fork out money, but at least, okay, the exposure, okay, the outcomes, okay, from having this international conference is massive. Okay, not only we have a network, okay, but also the paper, okay, that was presented, okay, in this conference were actually were accepted for Scopus as well. So I'm so lucky in that sense. Not only I can go to Rome, okay, to present my paper, but also I was able to get to fulfill, okay, the needed outcomes as required by the ministry. Okay. So then we have fieldwork. Okay, so basically, traveling and transportation, it's more on the allocation for fieldwork, okay, for traveling, okay, that need to be clear. Then I think you can also refer this to the guidelines, okay, as been shared by Prof. Badri just now. Okay, and for the rental, okay, almost never happened, okay, for social sciences, I think, that we're going to rent any lab or whatsoever. So normally, if you do put rental, okay, about 24,000, okay, for your for our form, in our form, okay, it's almost certain they will reject it, because they have a clear understanding, okay, what social sciences, okay, and social scientists do. Okay, but I think there may be some specific areas. Perhaps some of us social scientists can maneuver around this rental of vote 24,000. Okay, another is on vote 27,000. Okay, on research materials and supplies. Okay, so during those earlier time, okay, even we can have what they call it, to buy papers, you know, to buy stationery, okay, is still possible. But I think some years back, okay, that it's not, I mean, supplies are no longer, supplies in the forms like stationeries are no longer accepted. And I think for this one, I even have to redo, okay, for my vote 27,000, because I remember I also applied for some stationery, okay, to get some grant for this one, and they asked that, they said that cannot, okay. So major revision can need to be done here, okay. So that is for vote 27,000, okay. And then vote 29,000, okay, professional services is more concerns about payments, okay, fees, okay. Even though, for example, just now we have the, you know, we mentioned traveling for international conference or any national conferences, okay, the fee should be put here, okay, in the professional services. So I don't know whether this is also applicable to Dr. Badri's or any other earlier recipients, but it workable for me, okay, during 2017 grants, okay. So we put the conference fee here, okay. So that is about the budgeting, okay. And the budget is also very, very important aspect that we need to think of, because when they see too high, okay, that you put for the budget, they will also put our form aside, okay. So we have to be very reasonable, okay, very practical in justifying our budget expenditure. So this one is on the, I have mentioned about human capital, okay, just now. So in the research outputs, okay, we have these icons about talents, publication, intellectual properties, and so on. So we need to when we have our GRA, for example, because this is the outcomes, okay, of our project, okay, we need to you know, upload lots of you know, documents here, okay. And later on, when we want to submit our project, we need to also update, okay, whether our human capital is actually done or finished or completed, okay, in the sense that it tallies very well, okay, with the progress of our project. Okay, what is this? Okay, this is another additional, okay, information towards the end, okay, of our project. Okay, so we have to mention about current activities and progress, okay, the way forward, what we can expect, okay, because as mentioned to you earlier, the FRGS is more on the foundation in which we provide some new knowledge, and we want to see how, when, I mean, the how it can progress further. Okay, so we put some statements of way forward, okay, to see how it can advance, whether it can be towards another advanced level of you know, research grants, okay, and then what are the constraints, issues as outcomes, okay, of while we will did our fieldwork, okay, or our project. Okay, so these are among other things that you need to bear in mind, okay, when we talk about writing up the proposal for us to do the research project. Okay, so basically we have to anticipate what's coming to us, okay, with by writing, okay, the proposal for the FRGS. Okay, so this is about the report writing and so on. So I don't think it's relevant so yet, okay, for you, because we are more on trying to secure further, okay, what is how can we make sure that we can win, okay, the project, okay, or the proposal is acceptable or approved, okay, by MOHI, at least MOHI RMC first, and then it goes to MOHI. Okay, so basically what had Dr. Ainos and her office, okay, what Dr. Prof. Hasina were doing at her office is in the directions, okay, actually, because mentoring is very important, okay, mentoring is very important. I even work with our junior researchers, okay, because they have lots of knowledge. Okay, they have experts. Okay, they are some skills in their own specialization. So I'm working with so many other FRGS project as well. Okay, with Dr. Nazra, okay, Dr. Sharifah, Fatima, and from KICT as well. Okay, on the ontology. Okay, and then this is something the important part of mentoring. Okay, mentoring our researcher. Okay, regardless whether we are junior or senior. Okay, it doesn't really matter. Okay, as long as we know we do have something. Okay, for us a substantial aspect for us to do research. Okay, and then we can also work together. Okay, as a teamwork. Okay, so and then in terms of mentoring, okay, we need to have some sort of like motivation, okay, some sort of like a very high spirits, okay, and very much interested, okay, to do research. Okay, we must have this kind of sentiments, okay, that we want to research, okay, because we know that having the research is about having a knowledge which is beneficial, okay, not just for us, okay, at the kuliah, but for the benefits of others. Okay, so this is something that we need to keep on mentioning to everyone. Okay, so mentoring is relates with the sense of responsibility. Okay, it provides with some kind of directions and inspirations. Okay, we talks about taking challenges. Okay, we are not sitting down in our comfort zone. Okay, doing our own things. Okay, but we must take challenge, okay, in doing the research. Okay, and then having that kind of thought, okay, we need to orienting ourselves, okay, directing ourselves toward achieving. Okay, so I'm actually promoting, okay, the works of Dr. Ainul's, okay, in that research is very much needed. Okay, and we do believe in that. Okay, and this is actually coming from the discussion, okay, by Prof. Asma last time, okay, that we need to understand what are our functions, and we need to understand, okay, what the grant funders, okay, were thinking. Okay, so basically today, okay, the scenario, the directions of doing research is more on having impactful research. Okay, more on having something that lies, stay in our heads. Okay, that is to show that the usefulness of the research. So the funders, okay, the MOHI, Ministry of Higher Education in particular, and so many other grant funders, okay, want to have us to provide a demonstrable impact, okay, for society and for our sake, perhaps for the ummah. Okay, what and how our research project can benefit, okay, to the ummah. Okay, so there are lots of core issues today. Okay, we have sustainability issues. Okay, we have maqasid, sharia, and so on. So all these things must tally well with the interest of the national interest, because we're talking about FRGS, right? So as mentioned by Dr. Badri, we talked about what is the interest of Malaysian governments and the Malaysian policies. Okay, so this is maybe the challenge, okay, for many of us, okay, to tally well, okay, with the interest of the funders. Okay, so I think for that, that's all, okay, for my presentation. Okay, I hope it is useful. It is my very humble way, actually. I do not know much at the moment. Maybe I have to get a new cycle of RGS after 2017. Okay, so maybe I can work with Dr. Helmi on the use of communication technology and so on. Okay, on that matter. So I'm open for any invitation from our colleague here for any interdisciplinary research project. Okay, thank you so much, okay, Dr. Ainul. Thank you so much, Dr. Badri, everybody, okay, for your ears, okay, to listen to my whatever I'm saying just now. Thank you.
Alhamdulillah, thank you so much, Dr. Rohaiza. I think Dr. Rohaiza has covered other aspects in FRGS. She's looked into even the usage of specific words in the title, yeah, profiling, modeling, framework. So these words should be very useful for our titles. We need to take care of deadlines, yeah, consider the gatekeepers, the stakeholders, people who are the owners of the grants, yeah. Also things like milestones in the forms. Yeah, Dr. Riza, it would be nice to have you in our team, in my team, or maybe you can also invite some of us to be in your team, yeah, inshallah. Lots to be learned from you. I think it's also important to look into the various votes, yeah, in FRGS, because each vote carry different emphasis. Okay, I think now that both speakers have already shared, yeah, their tips on FRGS proposal writing, perhaps it's now good for us to go into our own breakout rooms. Yeah. So Brother Ismail has helped us to create two breakout rooms. So what we're going to do now, inshallah, our human science lecturers will join Dr. Rohaiza in breakout room 1, and our IRK colleagues will join Dr. Badri in breakout room 2. Yeah, I will help Dr. Rohaiza in the HS room, and Dr. Said Mohsin will help Dr. Badri in room 2. So what we're going to try to do is, I hope all of us here at least have a tentative title, yeah, for our projects, so that we can seek some feedback, get some ideas from the speakers in the respective room. Yeah, others in the discussion can also contribute. And of course, if you have any other questions that you like to ask, some burning questions, you can also forward that to our honorable speakers today. So we are going to join the rooms now. Inshallah, we have about half an hour left. So we will come back maybe 5 minutes before 5, yes, to adjourn our workshop today. So can I now invite everyone to enter their respective breakout rooms? Okay. So room 1 will be with Dr. Rohaiza, and room 2 will be with Dr. Badri.
I have to choose, or I have to assign? Okay, join. Okay, right.